boys and girls, welcome to Everyday Math Lesson 6.8, Multiplication Array Number Stories. The materials that you'll need today, your pencil, math journal, and your template. Let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is go over our math boxes from the previous lesson. So if you can open up your math journal to page 149, if you're noticing that you have any mistakes, please fix those with your pencil and eraser. So for the first question, write the numbers so I can see I have 3 flats, which stands for 300. I can see I have 2 longs, which stands for 20. And I can see that I have 5 ones, giving me my number of 325. For question 2, make ballpark estimates and write a number model for each estimate. I also did plug in the actual answer just in case you did also. So 32 rounds to 30, 59 rounds to 60, 30 plus 60 equals 90, and the actual answer would have been 91, so very close to our ballpark estimate. For our second question, we have 51, which is going to round to 50, 27 is going to round to 30, and 50 plus 30 equals 80, which again is very close to our ballpark estimate, which is very close to our actual answer of 78. For question 3, measure the line segment. And I'm going to pull my ruler and hopefully I can line that up nicely for you. So I'm going to put my 0 on one end and I can see that it's right about 9 centimeters. So if you had something different, if you can double check to make sure that you had yours as 9 centimeters. And then it asks to draw a line segment 3 inches shorter. Well, 9 minus 3 would be 6. So when you double check yours, your shorter line should be 6 centimeters long. For question 4, how many cubes? You should have had 51 and then cross off 23. So our number model, we started with 51 minus 23, and we should have a total now of 28. Question 5, Lauren's birthday is on the 10th day in the shortest month of the year. In what month is her birthday? The shortest month of the year is February. For question 6, double each of these, and then don't forget about your unit. I chose to use dogs today. So doubling 2 would be 4, doubling 4 would be 8, doubling 10 would be 20, and doubling 50 would be 100. So double check to make sure you have your page correct before moving on to the next part of the lesson. For this next part of the lesson, you don't need to write anything down. You could just say the answer out loud or watch as I explain the answer. But in our first question, if we have an example like egg cartons and 2 rows of 6 eggs, how many eggs? I'm thinking about it with the number model of 2 times 6, which equals 12. Another way of taking a look at that is making an array. So I know I have 2 rows and I have 6 per row, giving me a total of 12. And if you can see the box that I made, I went down 2 and I went over 6 to box in that 2 by 6 array. So we see arrays kind of all over the place. So you can see them with buttons on a telephone. You can see them with muffin tins, either maybe a 3 by 2 or a 3 by 4 array. A tic-tac-toe grid is like an array. A checkerboard is an array. Egg cartons, a case of water. So we see arrays all over. So today we're going to look at a couple pages in our math journal that are going to work more on arrays. So the first page that we'll talk about is page 150. So could you open up your math journal to take a look at page 150? You'll notice that your multiplication diagram is blank. So I'm going to give you a question for each of these, and then we'll plug in our information and create our array. So for this first question, we're working with floor tiles. So we have 5 rows of tiles, 9 tiles in each row, and we want to figure out how many total tiles. Now I can talk about this first one with you so you can kind of understand how we'll do this. So I know that I have 5 rows of tiles and that I have 9 in all, and so I want to, or that I have 9 per row, And I got a total now of 45 in all. And I made my array on the side going, so you could either box it in like I did, or you could do X's too. But I did 5 going down and 9 going across. And 5 times 9, so if I could either count each of these dots, or I could count by 5s 9 times. I also, when I'm thinking about 5s, I like to think about a clock and think, well, if my hand was on the 9, I would know that would be 45, but 5 times 9 to equal 45. Let's try another one like this. This next one will be a little bit easier to solve. So tic-tac-toe. So we have 3 rows of squares and 3 squares per row. How many total squares? Could you plug in that information in this box and create your array? Press pause and play when you're ready to check. Okay, hopefully you found this one a little bit easier. So we have our 3 rows and we have 3 per row, and so our total would be 9. 3 times 3 equals 9, and your box looks something like this. You could also think, well, 3 plus 3 equals 6, and then plus 3 more would equal 9 using that repeated addition. For this next problem, I'm going to move my boxes over a little bit here so I can see it. For this next problem, we have 3 rows of problems and we have 2 problems in each row. So how many total problems? So could you plug in that information here? So 3 rows of problems, 2 problems in each row, and again, how many problems in all? All right, when we plugged in our information, so we know we have 3 rows, we know we have 2 problems per row, and giving us a total of 6 in all. And so 3 times 2 equals 6, and your array should look something like this, a 3 by 2. For our last one, we're thinking about a calendar. So this one we have 3 weeks and we have 7 days per week, and we're trying to figure out how many days in all. So again, you have 3 weeks, 7 days per week, and how many days in all? Press pause and play when you're ready to check. So I put in my 3 weeks, my 7 days per week, and my total was 21. And my array looked something like this, where I went down 3 and over 7. We'll work more on array number stories in future lessons, but we have one more page that we'll do together before we go into our math boxes. So if you can take a look at page 151. So for this page, you can either make X's on the array or you can box it in. And I'm going to be boxing it in this because that's a little bit quicker for me. So looking at the first question, the marching band has 3 rows with 5 players in each row. How many players are in the band? If you can make the array and then tell me how many players and write the number model. I'll show you what that first one would look like. So I boxed in my 3 by 5. And when I counted, I knew I had 15 players. 3 times 5 equals 15. I could also think like 5 plus 5 plus 5, or I could count by 3s. So could you press pause and solve questions 2, 3, and 4, and then press play when you're ready to check? All right, let's take a look at question number 2. And if I'm about to reveal an answer before you've solved, press pause as often as needed. So for question 2, Mel folded his paper into 2 rows of 4 boxes each. How many boxes did he make? So making your array, you have it at 2 by 4. And we know that he had 8 boxes because 2 times 4 equals 8. For question 3, the sheet has 5 rows of stamps. There are 5 stamps in each row. How many stamps are there? And if you need more time, press pause. So you have a 5 by 5, and 5 times 5 is 25. So there's a total of 25 stamps in all. Question 4, The orchard has 4 rows of trees. Each row has 8 trees. How many trees are there? So for our array, we have a 4 by 8, which there are 32 trees in the orchard, and 4 times 8 equals 32. So if you can double check your number stories, and again, we'll work more on these in future lessons. The last thing that we'll talk about today are math boxes, which is page 152. I'll talk about the questions and I'll ask that you complete it on your own and take a picture and add that picture to CSAP for your classroom teacher. We will go over this page in our next video. So for our first question, choose the best answer and be careful, making sure that you're looking closely at each of the places. For question 2, draw the line of symmetry. For question 3, you can use counters to solve, or you can use other strategies too, but $14 is shared equally. Each child gets $5. How many children are sharing, and then how many dollars are left over? For question 4, this is a what by what array, and how many dots are in all? Find the difference between 16 and 28, between 70 and 57, and between 15 and 43. And then do the best that you can to draw the picture of what would come next. All right, I'll see you next time.